Very good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Citizen at 1. I'm Michael Njenga. News Justin indicate that 7 chiefs from Kiambu County have been interdicted for failing to curb terrorism in the country. Confirming the indefinite suspension, Kiambu County Commissioner Esther Maina indicated that the chiefs' laxity made Kiambu to be a safe haven for grouping settings to be said to be dealing with terrorism activities, further stating that over 400 aliens have been deported from Kiambu alone. This coming at the time when the government has intensified an operation which has been condemned and praised in the same measure, dubbed Usalama Watch, where all illegal immigrants are being deported or refugees returned back to the refugee camps. But with the new constitution and the powers of the chiefs clipped, Article 17 of the 6th schedule on the transitional and consequential provisions was to see national government restructure the provincial administration in accordance with the system of devolved government. Well, 2 people died while 3 others were rescued when a boat capsized in a dam last evening in Manyanja village, Bungoma County. Diana Kariuki brings us more on the story.
Kanduyi constituency residents gathered around the dam with bated breath as divers embarked on a search for the body of the victim. The tragedy that occurred last evening saw a boat that had 5 boys on board capsize. 1 drowned and the other 1 died while being taken to hospital. 3 survived. Residents now say the dam built by former Bungoma County Council has turned into a source of doom rather than life.
Hii damu imepoteza watoto wetu 3. Leo ni watoto wamefika watoto 5.
Sisi kama raia tunaenda kuamua kubomoa haya maji vile tunaweza mpaka yatolewe mahali hapa, kwa sababu hatutaendelea kuona maafa yakiendelea.
The accident bring into question the level of preparedness in the county.
Since last year tumekuwa na janga mingi sana, tumekuwa na disaster nyingi sana. Imefika wakati kama county tuweke in place the disaster management and response teams.
The 3 boys who survived were taken to Bungoma District Hospital for further treatment. Diana Kariuki, Citizen Live at 1.
Well, let's now move on to the August House, where several meetings have been going on today. And joining us to give us an update is Kendagor Obadiah from Parliament. A very good afternoon, Kendagor. Please give us an update. What's happening in Parliament?
Good afternoon to you, Michael Njenga. And in Parliament, it's a beehive of activity here. Remember, it is a day that Parliament sits, a full day, but the morning session was full of private member statements and bills, tabling of bills. And just to give you some of the bills, one important bill that was tabled today is the Public Investment Committee bill, bill report.
Yes.
This report is on the standard gauge railway. Remember, an earlier committee on transport had also tabled a similar report because 2 committees did separate investigations into the standard gauge railway and came up with separate reports. And today it was the time for the PIC to table its report. The report doesn't have a lot of differences. In fact, it has a lot of similarities in terms of recommending that this project should continue, but also giving some conditions that have to be met in order for the project to go. But their overall observation is that so far the procurement has been done in accordance with the law, and that no money has been lost and no money will be lost because there is yet an agreement, a financing agreement that needs to be signed before any other thing is effected. So they just want that this project should continue being a landmark project for the Vision 2030 that cannot be interfered with, and it should continue. But then there's a bigger business of the day today that is coming up, and that is the Anglo Leasing report. Yes. Remember, the government has recommended that pays 2 companies that were linked with the Anglo Leasing company, and that has elicited a lot of reaction. The week has been busy discussing, giving the pros and cons of the action of paying these companies. And today, the government will be seeking the endorsement of National Assembly, and this will on the floor of the House this afternoon. Now, in preparation for this debate, we've seen the two sides of rival coalitions, that is Jubilee and CORD, going into separate meetings. Right now, the CORD team is meeting at the county hall, trying to strategize on how to combat this. Remember, their position has been no payment at all should be made in relation to these two companies. And the Jubilee side are meeting at PanAfric, and they are also deliberating on how to support. But having been here and talking to members, I've also had some members from the Jubilee side saying it will be a disaster if the Jubilee government, goes ahead to pay this Anglo-Leasing monster, because it will really eat into the integrity of the ruling coalition. And so that is what is happening at the moment. We're waiting for the afternoon session to beginning at 2:30. Of course, there will be procedural issues before they now embark on this, Mike. That is that much we can give you from the National Assembly.
Well, thank you very much, Kendagor Obadea there, giving us an update on what's happening in Parliament, where several bills will be discussed this afternoon. Of course, we'll be giving you detailed coverage in our subsequent bulletins. Moving on, Samuel Aboko, a member of the Kisii County Assembly representing Kiogoro Ward, has denied that he uttered contemptuous words that demeaned President Uhuru Kenyatta. Aboko, who was arraigned before a Kisii court, was accused of saying that those close to President Uhuru Kenyatta should advise him to stop smoking bang. The court heard that Aboko's words were calculated to bring into contempt the lawful authority of President Kenyatta.
The MCA who has made headlines for allegedly insulting the president, Samuel Aboko, a member of the Kisii County Assembly, said to have used improper language against the president on 28th of August last year at Kerela village in Kisii County. Aboko allegedly uttered remarks to the effect that the president smoked marijuana, saying that those close to him should advise him to stop the vice. Today, Aboko denies those allegations.
I never uttered any utterances which are against the president. And I stand firm that even if I'm taken to the face-to-face to the president, those are the conversation I will make. I will confess what I said.
Aboko explains further what he did say at the said funeral.
And I spoke the following words: that our country needs healing, and the only healer is the Lord. And those words I quoted from the book of 2 Chronicles chapter 7 verse 14.
But the Kisii court was told that Aboko's words were calculated and meant to vilify the president, which is against the law. According to section 132 of the Penal Code, it is unlawful to undermine the authority of a public officer. The section provides that any person without lawful excuse utters, prints, or publishes any words or does anything calculated to bring into contempt or to excite defiance of or disobedience to the lawful authority of a public officer is guilty of an offense and liable to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 years. Aboko denied the charges before the Kisii Principal Magistrate Kibet Sambu and was released on bond.
Of course, that's a developing story. We'll keep on updating you as the court proceedings continue. The Embu County Assembly has forwarded to the Senate the outcome of motion passed yesterday impeaching Embu Governor Martin Wambora for the second time. Speaker of the Senate, Ekwe Thuro, now says has 3 days to convene a committee to investigate Wambora's conduct, which will later present its report on the floor of the Senate for adoption or rejection. The ousted Governor Martin Wambora today appeared for a mention of his case before the High Court in Kirinyaga. Wambora lost his petition last evening to have the Embu County Assembly blocked from forwarding the motion's outcome to the Senate. Wambora was impeached by a vote of 23 members of County Assembly against 8 who voted against the motion. Wambora had obtained a court injunction to stop the County Assembly from debating the motion, but that did not deter the House from going ahead to deliberate the matter. Lady Justice Cicely Githua faulted Wambora for failing to serve the Assembly with injunction orders on time and therefore could not grant him his wishes.
The chair notes the office of the clerk, that this.
Moving on, two members of parliament have objected to the planned increase of university fees. The two legislators, Kiharu Member of Parliament Irongo Kangata and his Makueni counterpart Daniel Manzo, say the intended raise in fees for the government-sponsored students is likely to drive hundreds of needy students out of school. They called on the government to review higher education loans upwards to allow students meet the costs.
The Minister of Education should have also consulted with the stakeholders, including members of parliament and any other stakeholder of education, as required by the new constitution. So it is surprising that the government is acting irregularly and illegally to increase fees for government-sponsored students in the universities.
I can just mention one thing, that indeed I have prepared a bill. It is presently awaiting publication. The intention of the bill is to amend the Higher Education Loans Board Act. Some of the highlights in this proposed amendment include, number one, to provide that that student representation at the board, in terms of having two government-sponsored student representation to sit in the board.
Well, earlier on we spoke with Kandagoro Badaya, who told us that meetings are still going on, and fireworks looms in Parliament today as the House is expected to debate a report on the government's plan to pay 1.4 billion shillings to offset debts linked to the controversial Anglo leasing contract. This is despite Parliamentary Budget and Finance Committee's approval of the payment yesterday, after being convinced by the Treasury Cabinet and Principal Secretaries, as well as the Solicitor General's explanation as to why government had no choice to pay up and urgently. A section of members of parliament from the Cord coalition, however, dissented and are now reportedly joined by some from the Jubilee wing, who want the government to unmask the shadowy figures behind the Anglo leasing scam. The Public Finance Management Bill that needs approval before Parliament breaks for recess today depends on the proceeds from the sovereign bond of government can only access it if it clears a foreign debt. This is what the team from Treasury and representatives from the Attorney General's office told the committees yesterday.
Sovereign bond. So the effect of this is as follows. Whether we pay them or we don't pay them, they will get the money. Okay? But the consequence of getting the money from the sovereign bond is they'll attach the sovereign bond in totality. They won't attach only the amount they want. They'll attach the entire amount of the sovereign bond.
If we don't pay and get access to those funds, we have several resorts. We can resort to several issues. One, we can issue another supplementary budget that cuts our budget by huge amounts. Two, we can go and borrow in the domestic market and push interest rates up so high that no private sector will be able to borrow in the local market.
We have negotiated to pay as a bullet payment, just one-off, as opposed to a staggered payment.
Moving on, residents of Wajarere area in Kangema constituency have signed a management agreement with the Kenya Forest Service that will enhance economic opportunities and forest stewardship in the Aberdares forest. The long-term agreement is designed to encourage community involvement in the management of local forest. Zedikot Gay has the details.
It was a good day for Wanjerere residents, a reason to dance. The launch and signing of the management agreement puts into effect a management plan that is set to benefit the entire community. According to the Kenya Forest Service Senior Deputy Director Emilio Mugo, the management agreement stipulates that the Community Forest Association will partner up with the Forest Service in ensuring the Aberdare forest thrives.
Basically, we have negotiated the roles and responsibilities between the two major stakeholders, the Kenya Forest Service on behalf of government and the Community Forest Association, and we have appended that through a management agreement which we have signed and launched today.
The local community will now work closely with the government to undertake income-generating activities in the forest, including beekeeping, water abstraction, pasture and extraction of firewood. On his part, Kangema Constituency Member of Parliament Tyrus Ngahu called upon the constituents to come together in the conservation of the forest, calling it a pride of Murang'a County.
And we are encouraging our community to make sure that they coexist with the resources which are within this forest by conserving them, taking care of the elephant, taking care of all those animals, because those are animals which can generate income.
The Kangema legislator urged the Kenya Wildlife Service to relocate more elephants to the Aberdare in order to attract more tourists. Zedi Kosgei for Citizen Live at 1.
Well, thank you very much, Zedi Kosgei. Now, tomorrow we'll be going for the Labor Day celebrations, and even as the Labor Day celebrations come, we have been seeing wrangles between KOTU and PUSETU as to who should really be the one who is organizing all the occasion. And to just shed some light this afternoon, we have Isaiah Kubai, is Executive Board Member for KOTU. A very good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Live at 1.
Good afternoon, sir.
Well, according to the law, who should arrange and invite guests when it comes to Labor Day celebrations? Why are we seeing, KOTU saying they should be the ones and PUSETU saying, no, we should be the ones who are doing this?
The labor movement is governed by the International Labor Conventions. Convention 87 and Convention 98, and then Convention 144, freedom of association. We are a free organization. Our freedom is not subject to anybody else. It's just subject to the conventions, because that is where all of us, including the government is also subject to that convention. The employers are subject to that convention, so that the most representative workers' organization, as stipulated in Convention 144, is the one that has the mandate to organize this International Labor Day conference. Meeting tomorrow.
Yes. And maybe
that is KOTU.
Yes, that is KOTU.
Yes.
What are the benefits? Because maybe one of the questions that many people are asking for, why then is PUSETU pushing for them to be the ones arranging tomorrow, and then KOTU is saying, no, according to the law, we are the ones. What are the benefits?
You see, we can't have two bodies fighting for this same interests. We have to collaborate together if possible.
Yes.
We are not opposed to PUSETU joining us in organizing Labor Day. But what we are opposed to is that they want to say we are the ones organizing. It's not a question of who is organizing. The workers in this country are organizing Labor Day.
Yes.
Every worker, including yourself.
Yes.
You are entitled to be part of this day, because it's your day. It's the day of the workers. It's the day the workers achieved a lot in terms of their welfare, fighting for their welfare against employers. And this is a day that is set aside in all the countries that ascribe to ILO conventions, the United Nations countries, including Kenya.
Yes.
So that freedom cannot be taken away from the workers. But when the workers, people want to divide the workers into factions, that is what makes it a big problem. A problem in the sense that we are not speaking in one voice. And workers are supposed to speak in one voice in terms of their welfare. Otherwise, when they divide themselves, they are a weakened group that cannot achieve much. Because we have a lot to achieve in this country in terms of our welfare. There are a lot of benefits if we act together.
Yes. As a KOTU executive board member, have you extended this idea that, look, PUSETU, let's come together. Let's do this as a group, not as different entities. Have you sat down and discussed it?
My brother Njenga, every year We have extended invitations to our brothers in the civil servants unions, in KNUT, and WASO. WASO are still our members. I don't see why they are behaving as if they are not contributing to KOTU. They are members of KOTU, except 2 unions, that is the civil servants and the KNUT. KUPPET are our members.
Yes.
But it's historical. The reason why KUPPET, civil servants and KNUT are not our members dates back to 1965, when the then president decided by a decree to remove them from the membership of KOTU.
Yes.
Because he didn't want a strong body of all the organizations that would confront the government those days.
Yes.
So he removed them by decree. And since that decree has been overtaken by the constitution of this country, we expected them to rejoin KOTU. But they chose to form PUSETU. We are not aggrieved by that. But we are saying the 2 bodies exist side by side. But when it comes to a day like this, which is a day for each one of us, all of us, let us get together. The way we have invited them, last year we did, 2011 we invited them, and when we go to ILO in June, we have always invited them to collaborate with us, to talk about the workers of this country in ILO. And we expected this thing to be done between us. But now we are surprised that the government minister is taking sides. That is the thing that really aggrieves us.
Yes.
That he has to take sides. He's interfering with the free movement of the workers.
And that's why I wanted to ask. There was a meeting yesterday with the parliamentary committee. PUSETU was there, KOTU was there.
Yes.
But PUSETU says that, you know what, there is one particular person, a Kabete member of parliament, Mushai, who should not be in this. And they say they will storm out. What are the issues?
But let me ask you, how can you say that a member of parliament must be removed because he is a member of KOTU? He has a right to be a member of KOTU, and he has a membership of Kabete because he is elected by the people of Kabete.
Yes.
You can't remove him from that position because that is what he was elected to represent the people of Kabete in that committee.
Yes.
And then he represents KOTU at the same time. What they should have argued about is that if he was taking sides. You understand?
Yes.
But for them to demand that a member of parliament gets out of parliament, that is highly irresponsible.
For me, sitting outside and watching all the wrangles as a layman, as a worker, as a member of all these, KOTU, PUSETU, you come in and fight for my rights as a worker.
Correct.
Then when I'm seated back at home and I'm looking at all these wrangles, one thing that comes into my mind is, could they be fighting for funds? Who funds you? Is it the government? Are you funded? Do you fund yourselves?
If the government funds an organization, that organization stops to be free because it's in the hands of the government. And that, if we did, we would be getting into trouble with ILO. We are funded by the workers.
Yes.
You make a contribution yourself to KUJ, who are members of, who are affiliates of KOTU.
Yes.
That is the money that funds the Central Organization of Trade Unions. And every other trade union is funded by the members' contributions. Yes.
So why the wrangles now? Why
the wrangle is about supremacy. I don't know really what is all this about. We don't need to fight over supremacy. We are brothers. We act in solidarity. And unless we act in solidarity, we can't achieve much. There is nothing about supremacy. All of us face the same problems. The idea that I am better than you doesn't have to arise.
Yes.
We are working together and we will succeed because we are one and with one voice.
Yes.
The supremacy does not arise.
As a board member, executive board member, as we wind up, what is your word of advice both to the workers and to these two bodies who seem to be doing more wrangles than helping the workers?
In fact, we are surprised, and I really want to appeal again to my brothers in PUSETU, the three unions in PUSETU, to swallow their pride. Let them come to Labor Day tomorrow, not to cause problems, but to engage about the workers' welfare. And we will be addressing the nation tomorrow.
Yes.
Let us address the nation together. But let them all come with their hands held by the Minister for Labor that they are coming to take over from KOTU. There is nothing to take over from KOTU.
Yes.
They have a lot of problems in the public service. They should be talking about how we can resolve these problems. And the workers have a lot of problems. And we want these workers to be attended by all of us in unity. Solidarity.
Yes.
We talk about solidarity.
That's right.
Brotherhood. What is this about brotherhood? What has happened to it? Why are you, going to the offices of the government to fight your brother?
Yes.
The government is an employer. We will be talking about issues against the same government with them.
So
when they have a problem, who will they run to?
Yes.
They will run to us. If we have a problem, we will run to them.
That's right.
In solidarity. And I appeal to them. They are doing a disservice to their members to pretend that we are wrangling together. We should be wrangling against a common person for whom we want the services for the workers in this country. The employers. Government is an employer. And I can't see how you can go to bed with an employer and still pretend that you are serving workers.
So this afternoon you're saying the key word here is let's all come together.
Let's come
Be it
together.
Kotu, be it Pusetu, be
Let
it
them
whoever
come,
it is.
all of them. The government will provide security. Government will provide security for us. I don't see why we should be wrangling. We have been wrangling for the last 2 weeks, and it's not doing us any good.
Yes.
It is against the principles of solidarity
Yes.
and brotherhood.
Wow.
Yes.
Mr. Kubai, I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much
Thank you
for
very
finding time to come and talk to us on
Thank you very
Live
much.
at 1. Really, really do appreciate it.
Yes.
Well, we've been
Please,
talking
all
to...
of you come to Liberty.
Thank you. So it's all systems go tomorrow?
Yes.
Everything?
Ready. Everything is ready.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've been talking to Isaiah Kubai, Executive Board Member, Kotu, who says it's all systems go tomorrow, they're ready. And his word this afternoon is let's not wrangle, let's not be embroiled in wrangles, let's come together and help the workers of this nation. You're watching Live at 1. We take a short break. We'll be right back.